Yeah.
New class.
Come on.
Old
It's
school.
for the
Yeah.
old school.
Look. And how we
Green
living
ass
out there.
twin.
I got a plan, sorta. All I need is one mic and a camcorder. You might have heard of luck. If you never did, you should turn this up.
Let go.
And take a good listen to the street knowledge that the hood missing. I got a plan, sorta. All I need is one mic and a camcorder.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first episode of Men in 10. For those of you that don't know, Men in 10 is a video podcast series brought to you by the Student African American Brotherhood at Stony Brook University. Men in 10 is a video podcast series that will cover a variety of topics, thought-provoking and discussion-inducing topics about, you guessed it, men. I'm your host, Shamar Griffith, and I will now hand the floor over to my two guests who will introduce themselves.
How you doing? My name is Christian Cole. I'm the Vice President of the Student African American Brotherhood.
Hello, my name is Obama Touche. I'm the Secretary of the Student African American Brotherhood.
Thank you guys for coming. So to start off the conversation, our first topic today will be about career mobility and athletics within the Black community. To head off our discussion, I will start with two facts, just to get you guys thinking. So black males represent only 2.8% of the undergraduate population at institutions, but 51% of the football teams and 64.2% of the basketball teams. What do you guys think about that? It's very shocking.
So me personally, I think that it's pretty interesting. Black males tend to gravitate towards athletics, which is just true amongst our community. Me being a black male, I have a lot of friends who strive for athletics growing up. Middle school years, we couldn't wait to get to recess. Everybody's just buying time through class just to get outside and go play basketball, shoot some hoops, or even throw the football around. So I feel like amongst our community, that was just something that was important to us, and for multiple reasons, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that on TV, we see most of our athletes and even entertainers, they are who are in the limelight, and people strive for that. They want to see themselves in people that they see, and the people we see the most are athletes. We don't see truly black professionals publicized that much. We mostly see athletes, and they have the following, the clout, social media presence, and I feel like those factors lead to many of our youth striving to perform in those areas of life and those social circles rather than the traditional professional and academic setting.
That's well said. Oban?
I agree with what Christian said. But I feel like to really understand these statistics, we'll have to actually see where we're coming from, like linking it back to the black community itself. As in, I feel like a lot of black athletes, including myself when I was younger, I feel like playing sports or just doing something was like a freedom thing. Like that's where you get to like let loose and just do what you enjoy, rather than just being constantly being held down by like your surrounding itself. So I feel like sports itself, being in the black community actually is looking back at those statistics. As in, we want to get out of this. This is something we're like fighting to get out of. So that's where the statistics I'll take them from.
Understood. So now, my next question would be like, what would be, like you guys? I guess you guys touched on it a little bit, but like, what if you had to point out one particular reason? Like, why do black youth gravitate to athletics?
You wanna go?
No, you got it, sir.
Okay. So for me, I feel like being an athlete, or when I was younger, being an athlete, I feel like one of the reasons is money and just like, as I touched on earlier, get out of the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the black dream is to like buy your mother a house, and I feel like even looking at other careers, you can buy your mother a house by doing anything if you're good at it. But I feel like these lawyers and doctors, they also pay mortgage, meaning it's not fast money. It's like you're not gonna just buy your house the first day of a paycheck being a doctor or a lawyer. And being an athlete, I feel like that's the fastest way to do it, or get that white picket fence for your mother.
Yeah, I actually agree with that a little bit. But just looking at it from a different angle, I feel like delayed gratification is an issue. And I feel like that has something to do with what you're saying as far as fast money. So a lot of times we see in our neighborhoods, people who have money or are able to do things at a younger age are usually those that are engaging in either athletics, going to the league, NBA. You know, these guys, they put their life into practicing, and then by the age of 20, 21, they're looking at multi-million-dollar contracts. And I feel like that's the dream because people want to get where they're going faster. And a lot of times, you know, studying and taking the traditional route or even the professional or academic route, it takes a longer and more disciplined lifestyle in which you're struggling for a long time, and then later on you start to see the benefits or the fruits of your labor. And so a lot of times it's because, like you said, the things we deal with in our community, whether it's just general oppression, systemic racism, and even crime in our communities, which happens for multiple reasons. We see our youth are trying to get out as soon as possible and as fast as possible, rather than keeping their head down, studying, and taking that long road that will finally pay off in the long run. It's more so, how can I get it now and get it quick? And not only does it just come with the fast money, but then you have the lifestyle, the attribute, and like I said before, the clout. People look for that, and they finally have people who are listening to their voice. A lot of time when you're studying and when you're just like a black man in your community, it's easy to just feel like your voice is not heard, and we don't have too many situations like what we're doing here, where we're talking and people are able to see this. So I feel like a lot of it has to do with finally getting to a place where you're in front of the camera, lights are on you, and a lot of times we see that with our NFL stars, our NBA stars, and so I feel like the youth see that, and then that's where they want to be.
Okay, so you guys both brought up some very great points. So my next question to you would be, what can we do as a community to remove the stigma of that get rich quick scheme? What do you guys think?
Personally, I think it starts with the parents. In a household. A lot of households itself doesn't have like both counterparts of parents. It's mostly like a black mother raising a child. And for that, I feel like for parents, can show their child that, hey, there's different options than just being like an NBA star. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I feel like, for example, in my household, my brother he's 7 foot. This guy, everywhere he goes, everyone's like, oh, you play basketball, right? I feel like it's that community special, community pressure that forces him. Like, this guy once told me, hey, I want to be a cop, and my parents was like, what? It's like, no, there's nothing else for you to do other than NBA. That's the route that they're pushing them. I feel like in other households it's similar, so we can actually remove that pressure.
Okay, so like you said, your brother, the social pressure. So how do you think you would exactly separate your passion from that pressure? What do you think?
Passion and pressure. I feel like the two comes together. Sometimes pressure turns into passion, as in when he was younger himself, like he didn't want to be a basketball player, but being pressured to do it somewhat became his passion. As in, practicing, getting up at 6 every morning actually made him like be passionate about something. And also, I feel like pressure itself.
Christian, any insight?
So I definitely feel that the fact that pressure can turn into passion. A lot of times you end up convincing yourself like, this is what I need to do, and then it becomes the only thing that you know, and then you even confuse that sense of obligation with the sense of passion. You're like, oh, this is all I want, but really it's all you know. And so a lot of times we neglect ourselves as youth. We neglect what makes us happy and what is our true passion, and we do what we think we should do, and then we live lives where we tend to no longer. When we reach those stages, even if you can get into a realm where you're successful in whatever like sport or discipline that you studied for all your life, you're still looking for something to fill that void. And I feel like that's part of the reason we see a lot of our athletes who have, they look for cars and houses and jewelry and things like that. And I feel like that causes an issue because we're trying to fill this void and create this space. So a lot of times it's just them trying to find themselves, and it becomes an issue of materialism, and it becomes an issue itself.
Understood. So, wrapping it up, so I would think the main question that we need to ask ourselves is, how do you find your passion? I would ask you guys, just before we go, like, any quick ideas how to find your passion.
So real quick, I just feel like a lot of times we neglect what we think is interesting just because we want to think about what is popular. And I feel like as a society, one way we can solve that is is actually putting importance on things that are not necessarily popular right now
Okay.
or entertainment.
Understood. Thank you. We will conclude our very first episode. Please stay tuned for more. Once again, Shamar Griffith, Christian Cole, and Ovan Latouche of the Student African American Booth here at Stony Brook University. Thank you. Enjoy.
All I need is one mic and a camcorder.